So we are recording now. Did you get okay, good. Okay, so let's, without further ado, get started. So hopefully your slides have progressed a little bit, and Lena just talked about this a little, but I want to make sure that you have our contact information, and Lena will be dropping that, and she beat me to the punch, dropping our contact information in the chat for you. It's especially important to me that you guys who are distance learners realize that we are here for you too. You may not be right down the street from us, but you are still one of our graduate students. We are here to help you. So please feel free to reach out to us with things that you need, and we will do our best to get you where you need to be, or at least find out answers to those questions. We're going to be going through kind of a series of PowerPoint slides tonight, and I don't want you to feel like you have to write all this information down as I go. Sometimes I tend to talk a little bit too fast. We're recording, and so we're going to put it up on the website. You can revisit it if you need to. If you're like, wait, I know she said something about a CAT card, because we're going to talk about CAT cards. But don't worry if you miss something. You can revisit, and you can also certainly always ask and reach out to us. But those are our contact information. So the first thing I want to stress for you here tonight is that the hardest part about being a fully online student, and I teach in a fully online program, so I get a lot of the feedback, is that it's, you feel disconnected a lot. And so you have to be really intentional about engaging. And it's going to look differently for you than it might if you lived right down the street. But it is real important that you take time to engage with the community, with your program, with your professors. That will be the best remedy to fight that kind of like, well, no one cares. I'm just here joining by my computer. And it might feel a little bit artificial at first, but I would encourage you to set up we'll talk about setting up, coffee breaks and coffee times. I think people through the pandemic got accustomed to, okay, Zoom is a way of engaging, but many of you might be in courses that are asynchronous. So you're not on at the same time as everybody else in the class. So again, it really will take some intentionality, some reaching out, some chats, some things that might feel, for some of us, and myself included, who it's been a while since we were in the classroom, it may feel a little awkward, but do engage and do take advantage of as many things as you possibly can while you're going through your program, so that you feel connected to us, because that's important for your success. I would like to introduce, if she's on tonight, one of our Graduate Student Association officers is Christina. Are you here? She may have had something come up at work. I don't see her on the participants, but this is a perfect way to engage. And Christina is one of our graduate students in our Human Resources program. So she's fully online. She has her contact information here, as well as her title. She's our VP of Diversity and Inclusive Excellence. And she is super engaged, even though she lives about 3.5, 4 hours away. So this is one way of getting engaged. If you think Graduate Student Association is something you might like to dabble in, reach out to Christina. She is also a wonderful resource if you are feeling a bit shy of starting a fully online program, and you're just wondering, like, okay, I'm a working parent, I'm doing this, I'm juggling that. She's a great one to reach out to say, how does it actually work? So especially if you are in the HR program, just like in brick and mortar type programs, each program will run its courses a little bit differently, but Christina is a great source of information, especially if you tend to be in the human resources program. And she must have had a work commitment come up, because I know she was planning to be here tonight. Move ahead. So first things first, how do you see your classes? How do you see your bill? How all of those things that are pretty normal when you're here on campus are actually run through your My WCU portal. And so I've pulled a screenshot of an old portal. Yours will look similar in that it's purple and it's got your face on it, but you do need to go ahead and log in and start to see your portal, because everything launches from your portal. You'll see that there's like an announcement bar at the top, and it tries to tailor those announcements, but I will tell you that that's going to be a frustration for you. Is like, you're going to get these announcements about, you know, homecoming or things that really are not relevant to a distance learner at all. But they will be there just to let you know. And I saw from your drop-in spots that many of you are from Asheville. And so you may want to, you know, join us for some of those on-campus events. But you'll see those, but in the absolute middle, you see your accounts and payments. So, you know, as soon as you've registered, you got a bill. And I believe that tuition is due the first night of class. If you are using any kind of financial aid, that information will be there. But, you know, don't expect that you will get anything in the mail like it used to be done in the snail mail. Everything is done electronically, including bills, payments, everything. So you'll want to make sure that you know where that part is. Down where those quick links are on the right side of your portal, that's the quickest way to get to a lot of different places that I'll be talking about tonight. I especially want to point out that that's where your classroom or the LMS, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a moment, but it says Blackboard here. Yours will actually say Canvas. We transitioned from Blackboard to Canvas. Oh, I guess it's been about a year ago. I love it. I love Canvas. But so yours will say that, and that's basically, think about that as the door into the classroom building. Canvas takes you there. And I will spend a little time talking about that. But this is kind of the thing that once you log off here tonight, go into, you know, spend a couple minutes going into your portal, make sure you're comfortable, maybe bookmark it on your computer, because you're going to interact a lot with that. To navigate through. The second thing I just told you about is that we have a new graduate student page, and we will have, you can see here, explore the videos. You'll see that we have links to this session, so you'll be able to view this just by going on to that page. And I'm sure Lena will drop that there it is, link in the chat if you need it. But I'm going to breeze over a lot of information tonight, and you may want to come back through. You may want to see the catalog again. Even though you're a distance student, you're still bound by all those policies contained in the catalog. There's another quick link to Canvas, the academic calendar. If you want to go ahead and start planning out spring break, that will all be there for you. So great kind of one-stop shop that makes it easy to find things. Catamount email. And this is another way you can add. I saw someone asked about a photo. This is another way. So this is optional. And so you might again think this is weird that she's spending time. Well, not this part, but the cat card part is. But your Catamount email is the official means of university communication. So if you haven't checked it yet, you've already got mail. I can guarantee you that. So it here shows you here how to activate it. You've probably already gotten to your personal email, a how-to, But along with that portal and making sure that your portal is set up and you can access it, you need to go ahead and get your Catamount email set up and make it so it's easy to access. You know, those of you who live and die by your smartphones, get it on your smartphone. We do have, I hate to say it, but we do have multi-step authentication with the portals and emails, and it's a pain in the brain, but it's kind of, we've gotten all used to it so that your phone will actually send, you know, you'll get a text on your phone that lets you into all these accounts, but you'll want to go ahead and set that up on your phone just to avoid the frustration next week. What I will tell you about your Catamount email and I know I saw that I've got some teachers out there. Often my teachers, because you're also getting inundated with your teacher email account, try and combine these, and that is very tough to do. I would caution you against it. You might get 50% of those Catamount emails, but the firewalls at your districts pull out a lot of things because it thinks it's spam. And for instance, we send a lot of things about, okay, your upcoming graduation, here's the, you know, different things like that, that sometimes look like spam, but they aren't. And so I would caution you against attempting to forward this into especially a school email account. I know it makes your life a lot easier only having to deal with one email, but it just doesn't work out real well. And I think that our IT maybe have made it impossible to dump it into your Gmail account. But you know, just something to consider in keeping things distinct and straight. But it will follow that formula. It'll be maybe the first letter of your first name and your last name at catamount.wcu.edu or some other version. It may have a number if we have lots of Brian Smiths, for example, but it's set up, it's done for you. So go ahead and make sure you're checking those emails. And then the person who asked about a photo, cat card. This is where I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. Not required since you are distance students. However, I would recommend that you do it. It's free, and it can all be done by email. And so you can see here, you know, what you need to send them, and you'll send them a photo of yourself, just a headshot of yourself. It kind of like if you've renewed your driver's license in the last 5 years, kind of the same deal. The benefit, even if you live, you know, all the way at the beach, is that anytime businesses run any kind of discounts for students, you're a student. Theater tickets, anything that you might do where they offer a student discount with a CAT card, you can show that you are a student and that you can get that discount. So it's also one of those things, like if you should be up here, you know, I saw a lot of people from Asheville or around the area. If you should want to come up and print something, or you would want the print, we have a print department here. If you would want them to print something for you and you're going to get them to mail it to you, having a CAT card will make that and facilitate that. You know, I'm going to be encouraging you to engage and to do something like research posters. And, you know, for a nominal fee, our print shop will print those for you. And it will just, again, make that so much easier if you can just show them your CAT card. So I would recommend it. It's not at all required, but it doesn't cost you anything. And again, it's also just part of that I am a student at Western Carolina and mindset of being engaged. So that's kind of some nuts and bolts. But again, for those of you who this is your first time ever being a fully online student, so our learning management system, and you'll hear it like IT and the way they refer to it is your LMS. And that stands for Learning Management System. That is your classroom or your school building. And we use Canvas here. Canvas is great. Depending on what program you're in and what your first class is, there can be some real frustrations about Canvas when you're brand new. So the very biggest frustration, and I wish I had the power to change this, is that sometimes professors don't make the course content available until after the classes have started. And so if they might not make it available till Thursday of next week. And that's really frustrating because as an online learner, you're already feeling a little bit disconnected and you'd like to get in and see how it runs and see what it looks like, because it can look very different from class to class. And so I know that's frustrating. If you know who the professor is, you might want to email them and just say, hey, I know the class isn't open yet. Could you send me the syllabus? Sometimes that gives you a little bit more of a general idea of how it's going to run. Are you going to have weekly tests? Are those tests going to be spread out? So generally, when you're an online learner, you are also fully employed or doing other things, and it's really helpful to be able to plan. And so we know that can be something that's a little bit frustrating. Even if you can't get into your class and see it, you really do need to know how to navigate Canvas. So you're going to be able to get into the general LMS, and you'll have these tiles, and I'll show you in just a little bit what your Canvas homepage will look like. But you can do some background or some homework even before it starts to kind of get you how to work around in Canvas. If you've never been in, I would strongly encourage you, just go to YouTube and write, Canvas beginning, and you will get all these little 3 to 5 minute videos of what Canvas looks like and how it's set up. And it might not be exactly how your class will run, but for those of you who've never been in, it will take away that fear of like, oh my gosh, what if I can't figure it out? What if I, which can cause a lot of undue stress on you from the get-go. But you'll see a lot of Canvas itself publishes a lot of really student-friendly how-to, even for those who might be like me, who never went through undergrad in any kind of an online world at all. So take advantage of that. There are tutorials, there are FAQs that are on our Canvas page. If it doesn't seem to be working right, don't be afraid to reach out to the help desk. And it could be there's something with your browser that's not configured right, but play around in that. Maybe tomorrow, maybe this weekend, if you have some time to get that stress out of the way. Here's what it looks like. Here's my page. Yours will look different depending on how many courses you're taking. But when you hit that little Canvas, that I showed you, that quick link, you'll come to a home page in Canvas. And these tiles, and that's what they're called, tiles, will be each of your classes. And so this looks like I've got 2 classes and one that's unpublished right now. And I can click on that class tile, and if my professor has opened it, I will see a welcome, I will see a syllabus. I will see lots of different resources there. But you can also see you've got an inbox within Canvas. You've got a help feature. All your courses are listed there too. My absolute favorite thing about Canvas is the calendar. So if your professor has put in any assignments, they will all be in that calendar. And if you've got like 3 classes, it gives each class a different color. And so you can see, in the month of February, what do I need to be juggling here? And it'll all be put in. So it'll tell you, it'll give you a task list. So again, don't be too concerned if you pop in there tonight or this weekend and it looks pretty sterile and you have these kind of blank looking tiles. They will open and they will fill out. Again, I wish I had the power to make everybody open there. If you're there fully online, open their courses up, but no such luck. But that's a little bit about what Canvas looks like and what you can expect and how you can get help if this is brand spanking new to you. The next big thing people want to know, of course, is how do I get my textbooks? How do I know, especially if my professor hasn't put the syllabus out there yet? So you can go to the bookstore link, and Lena's got a great visual here to show you kind of how to search and see what textbooks have been ordered for your class or for your section, and that'll help you see that. Again, the bookstore, and I think y'all probably know this, the bookstore is one way of getting your textbooks. You can also get your textbooks through Amazon, which are sometimes much cheaper. You can rent textbooks now. That did not exist when I was a student, but that is something that can be done. And again, you just have to decide what works best for you. But there's a couple of different ways to find out what textbooks are required for the courses you've registered for. And then there's even more ways to get those textbooks once you actually know what they are. Again, as someone who's taught for a long time online, just be careful that you pay attention to things like what edition, if your professor has ordered the 7th edition, you don't want to get the 4th edition. So just make sure that if you go out on your own to maybe save some $1, $2, 20, 80, that it is the exact same textbook. Use that ISBN number to line it up. So we also have some professional development. This, again, I'm kind of planting a seed because you guys right now are like just getting ready to start. And so the last thing on your mind is professional development, but you will be getting out, you will be finishing. And there's a couple of things that the graduate school does that, again, it's very easy to assume, oh, that's not for me. That's just for in-person courses. And that's never the case. We do a couple of competitions or research type events. One of them is in the fall and one of them is in the spring. So I would tell you this spring, just kind of keep your eyes and ears open for when we start talking about the Graduate Research Symposium. Again, a lot of folks like in HR assume, well, I can't do that because I'm fully online and this isn't a thesis program, but that's far from truth because all of your programs do projects, do capstone type projects, do community-based projects, and those are perfect for the 3MT or for the research symposium. So be thinking about that. Again, this spring, just kind of eyes and ears open, looking, seeing what's out there, but then be thinking about it for next fall and certainly next spring. It's a great way to practice any kind of job talks because it gets you talking and networking and meeting with people within your profession. We also have the Graduate Student Association, and we would love to have you join that. So those are some things to be thinking about. The library is completely open and available to you. You actually will probably access the library the exact same way that people who live, a block and a half from the library, because we all pretty much access the library remotely now. But there's a whole page that's dedicated just for distance students, and Lena's dropped that link in there. There's, a pretty good chat feature that goes with it so that you could say, and for some reason, I'm not getting this. Can you help me? There's a lot of interlibrary loan stuff that's available to you. So if, let's say you live in Raleigh and you need a hard book, very often we can get it sent to the state campus and you can go pick it up, or if you're in Wilmington or wherever it is you may be, if you need the physical copy of something, we can get it to you that way through the UNC systems. Lots of tutorials here, and you can see all that there. So you have a library account. Please, the biggest thing that makes me go, that I see graduate students who are fully online is that they pay to join those database things because they don't realize you have infinite numbers of databases available to you through the library. So you can Google Scholars, search anything you want, but if you run up and it says, well, you have to subscribe to this journal in order to get it, and it's going to cost you, stop dead in your tracks and go find it, or go get help finding it through our library. Because I'm pretty sure that our library will have access to whatever that is that you're trying to get for your classes. So good to know you are a full-fledged member of the library, no second-class citizens there. The other thing I want to make you aware of is a little bit of a downer, but it's the academic policies. I showed you where the graduate catalog is. Definitely, breeze through that. It's searchable. But I do want to talk a little bit about some things in graduate school that are far more devastating than they might have been in undergrad. So the first one is you cannot get an F in graduate school. 1 F and you're dismissed. There is also not, which for some of you in undergrad, you could get a bad grade and then you could take the class again and you could replace that grade. That does not exist in graduate school at Western Carolina University. So you need to keep that in mind. An F will kick you out automatically. So will 3 C's. So really the graduate mantra you really need to be thinking are A's and B's, A's and B's, A's and B's. An occasional C isn't going to, be too devastating, but more, once you start getting that second C and you're starting to approach maybe getting a third C, that will dismiss you. So that is something, to know and to keep in mind. I don't think any of you whose programs I saw here have a 2C minimum. If we have any health sciences folks, yours is a little bit more restrictive. For our health sciences, and they have some courses that you can't get a C in, some of their field courses. So know those policies on the front end. Again, there's no grade replacement in graduate school. So you'll want to make sure that you're doing your absolute best. And if things start to go south on you, it's so hard when you're alone, you're by yourself, you're in your house, you feel disconnected. You've got to raise your hand and get some help. And, can I drop the class? Can I just don't take Fs? Don't just stop coming and say, oh, well, because that follows you and haunts you for a long, long time. So that's a little bit different than most undergraduate worlds. It's also I know I have some folks in here who are alum of Western. It is different from Western's undergraduate policy. The graduate policy is much more restrictive in terms of grades. Transfer credit, if you've taken a graduate level course that's, maybe you've had like intro to HR somewhere else at the graduate level, talk with your graduate school advisor. So that will be who that is, that was on your acceptance letter, and ask about that transfer credit. That all goes through the program itself. So if they approve it, they'll tell you what you need. And then, we do accept transfer credit depending on how many hours are required for your degree is how many hours. It's on a sliding scale of transfer credit you might get. So generally 6, but there are some programs that have so many hours that they will take 9 transfer. So that's in the graduate catalog, but I do want you to be aware of it. The stop out policy allows you to, should you need to take a semester off for some reason or so, life, to do so without penalty. You certainly want to be in contact with your advisor. After 3 semesters, 3 consecutive semesters, if you're out 3 consecutive semesters, you will need to reapply to your program. So again, have conversations before you just do it, to make sure that you're making the best possible decisions for your academic and professional career. Again, this kind of goes with that number 1, don't just take an F and just say, my life just threw me this terrible curveball. I just can't even do it. So I'm just disappearing and taking an F. there are other avenues. There are medical withdrawals, and that's not just you. It could be a child, a parent, just something. There are exceptions and there are help, even if it's past the withdrawal date. So please, raise your hand and get help before you just to let the sky to fall. Military deployment also, that's a reason to be able to withdraw from WCU late. So there's lots of different extenuating circumstances. And I can honestly say that one of the great things about Western is that we're not so big that you're going to just be a number. Even as a distant student, your faculty are going to know you. They want to know you. So engage and don't, just kind of disappear and assume it will go away, because it won't. Lots of different things for when, you need help. So before you let yourself get into that predicament with those grades, maybe it's been a long time since you've had to write academically. You may need a little bit of help on that first paper. So we've got a Writing and Learning Commons. They do appointments. They help you, online. You don't have to come in. So I would, make yourself, apprise yourself of all of these resources that are here for distant students. We've got a brain fuse thing that's great for, like in my case, going back and having to take stats. And my math was way back a long time ago. And so just getting a little bit of help with some of those things that I really hadn't thought about in a while. Again, they're there for you. Take advantage of them. Don't wait until it's too late. And then finally, we have great computer and IT support here. And being a distance learner, you're going to want all your technology to work right. A lot of your, I know I have a couple of TESOL people in here. Dr. Callahan, she posts incredible teaching videos and lectures. And if yours isn't running it, you're going to miss out. And so reach out to IT at wcu.edu. They'll be able to take over your computer remotely and make it, figure out why is it not running this? Why isn't it? And they are incredibly responsive here. We have got the best IT help. And with that multi-step authentication, which drives us crazy just as much as it might drive you crazy, but they will be able to help you out there, show you there is a Microsoft Authenticator app that you can use if you don't get text, which is what happens to me because I live in the boondocks here. But they can help you with some different things that you might use with that as well. So again, they're responsive. You should expect to hear from them. If you send them something and they respond, you don't need to call them. You can just shoot them an email, and it's within 20 minutes that they'll let you know what's going on. The last thing to kind of tell you about in this information dump is that about the 31st of January in your Catamount, you're going to get these educational modules that are required, and they will prevent you from registering for summer or fall if you don't take them. So it'll be a message from a company called EverFi, and it's most of you are have been in the professional world, so you know what compliance training is. That's what these are. These are compliance training modules. Everybody has to do the sexual assault compliance training module and the diversity and inclusion training module. If you are younger than 24, you will also be tagged and have to do the alcohol education. It's like any other compliance training, just you got to do it because that's a pain if it stops you from registering. So be on the lookout about the 31st of January. That's when we've been told the automations will go out, certainly, by the first couple days in February. But just go ahead and knock them out, get them done. They are what they are. So that's really all I have for us tonight. What kind of questions do you guys have? anything that you want me to go over again, anything that as you think about being a fully online learner that's you wanted to talk about? Oh, well, hearing none, I know it's dinner time. So I will just remind you that this will be ready for you tomorrow. You can review it as you need. We've got nice videos from, like, I introduced you to the walk, I introduced you to the library, but you can actually see a little welcome video for each of the different service providers, so you can take a look. And Marlon, your question is fantastic. If you've completed those compliance trainings as an undergrad, I believe it knows that, and so it won't require you to do it again. If they've changed any part of it, or if it's been, over 5 years since you've done it, you may have to redo it. Well, thanks everyone for being here, for joining us tonight. We do appreciate it. We wish you the absolute best of luck in beginning this new program and this new endeavor. And please don't be a stranger. Reach out, let us know of anything that you might need the next as you work. Thanks and take care.
Thank you.